Welcome back. In the last section, we talked about the why of things, why our podcast needs a website, why we're using WordPress, and what you're going to learn. From here on out, we're going to actually take the steps we need to take to launch our podcast website. And the first thing we need to do is think about our domain name. Now, a domain name is the address that people will use to get to your website. For example, the domain name of this site is creatorcourses.com. In the description for this lesson, I actually linked to 2 longer videos I did for Winning WP that talks about how to choose a good domain name and how to register a domain name with Namecheap. So in this video, I'm going to give you a quick overview. In the next video, we're going to buy our domain with our hosting. So for now, let's just talk about choosing the right domain name and things that you should consider in choosing your domain. The first thing is make sure to grab the .com. That is the most common domain name, and that's what people think about if they can't remember your website. So if you were trying to get to Creator Courses, but you didn't know the domain, you likely would have tried creatorcourses.com before .org or .net. The exception to this rule comes when we're talking specifically about podcasting. You can register the .fm because it tells people specifically that this is a radio or podcast show. You're also going to want to make the domain short, 11 characters or fewer. This makes it easy to remember, and that's really the name of the game here. We want our podcast domain to be as easy to remember as possible, especially since we'll be saying it a lot in our podcast. So try to make it short, 11 characters or fewer. You're also going to want to make it speakable. And what I mean here is that you should be able to say it without any ambiguity. Again, creatorcourses.com is a good example. Or my podcast, howibuilt.it, is a good example because there's no ambiguity when people go to write that out. A bad example is a domain I used to have called WP in 1 month. Is the number 1 the digit or is it spelled out? It was spelled out in my case. You're also going to want to avoid using things like hyphens or other punctuation. Try to stick to letters. Or if you're going to have numbers, try to grab both the digit and the word. That way, whatever people try will work. Make it memorable. Again, try to match the show's name. So you have a show or a podcast title in mind. Make sure you get a domain that matches that or something close to that. And have alternatives available. Just like we were talking about with the numbers, you want to try to have a couple of variations that are all pointing to the right spot. That way, even if people accidentally typo or forget the domain, they get directed to the same area. So I might have howibuiltit.com, howibuilt.show, and howibuilt.it. My recommendation for registering a domain when we're not doing it through the host is hover.com. They offer a lot of really great extras for the price of the domain, and one is free domain privacy. So when you register a domain, people won't be able to look up your personal information and then send you spam based on it. But like I said, in the next video, we're actually going to register the domain along with our hosting. And with that, I should let you know what podcast we're creating. I used to have a show a long time ago called TIL Podcast for Today I Learned. So that's going to be the website that we build out in this course. So when we register the domain in the next video, I'm going to go for tilpodcast.com or tilshow.com. Something like that will work. So that's it for this video. If you want even more information on choosing the right domain, you can watch the video in the description below. Or if you want step-by-step instructions on how to register the domain with Namecheap, you can get that in the description below as well. Otherwise, be sure to get ready and follow along in the next video because we're going to be buying our hosting and our domain at the same time.